Welcome to Zwift Racing League. We're out here for the 2021-22 season one for our race number 4 out here. We're on Casse Pods. Dave, my name is Nathan Guerra. Dave Towle next to me. And as usual, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Dave, we got a long race in front of us, that's for sure. It's going to have 2 Category 4 climbs. The way that, you look at it up front, kind of the way it's been presented, I don't know if people were actually expecting this kind of middle territory kind of climb right in the smack dab in the middle of this lap. Lots of interesting power-ups to be used, lots of interesting tactics, a couple of sprint points. Well, there's kind of a KOM/sprint point right on top of each other, so it's super interesting racing today.
I agree. I'm in love with this course. Casse Pots means, I guess, leg breaker is fair to say. And we were talking about this, but a lot of people, when you get your pasta, you'll crack the pasta in half before you throw it in the boiling water. Well, it's kind of what this climb will do out there. As we've said many times, racers make the races. You look at the course, you can see the sprints that Nathan was talking about. We'll be scoring points there. That climb for the King of the Mountain or the Queen of the Mountain, well, that's going to be significant. Although, in yesterday's Premier Division racing, there was a surprisingly large group that went to the line. In the men's case, it was Stefan Kirkmeyer taking the win for the women, Los Aldegeest, the Dutch rider on Aeonian. Both riders, Nathan, that really do come out of this community. I thought that was extremely cool to see. So 46.65 kilometers of racing. I think it's right around 300 meters of climbing out there, but certainly when you look at what we call the petite KOM, that climb is really where most of the difference is going to be made for our top riders today.
Yeah, you can look at it right there in that course profile, and 4% average gradient, but it's got some kickers in it on the switchbacks, mainly on the back end of the climb. Right up toward the top, they come at you fast and furious in succession, 3 of them that really get into that higher gradient, 7-8% on those last 3 switchbacks into the cobbles, actually over the top of the KOM. Watch out for the real separations to take place. I think on the lower slopes, people look to try and get as much time as they can, but anybody fighting for those points really going to be attacking through that section. Now, we do have a little bit of a replay of what just went down in the men's race real quickly here. Let's go and take a look at that as they jumped out on course immediately. There was a sprint point right from the gun, and they were not messing around the moment that they jumped out on course. Actually, there was actually a gap by Iwangi, it looks like here, right from the get-go, looking to try and take it down. This worked earlier in the APAC race, and he just barely hung on here today. And I think the monk from WLC also just hang on. Jahi coming on through there from SZ Yimar. Coming through, it looks like, for third on that first go. Definitely, this has been a tactic, Dave, I've seen this morning in APAC. Wasn't something I was necessarily expecting, but when I saw these riders come out from the gun, just full gas, it was definitely fairly obvious that this was going to be the tactic for the rest of the day, jumping on top of the immediate launch from the pens in order to grab those sprint points rather than waiting for that last-ditch effort for 200 meters.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. That's Evan Wangai that we're looking at there. Evan racing on the Amani team as we're back with the group power-ups. It's a unique day. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it is Anvil, Burrito, and the van, the drafting power-up that we're using today for this group.
Correct.
I will double-check that, but certainly that Anvil one we don't see often. For 30 seconds, you can add weight to your avatar. Obviously, that'll help you descend faster. That discussion was certainly an interesting one. The burrito, which, and I think this is unfair to the burrito, to tell you the truth, because when I have a burrito, most people want to get closer to me, not farther away. But I think you get the gist. 2.5 meters after it's been deployed, the burrito power up, you offer no draft. So it's definitely, for the attacking rider, it's a real blessing. Final one, you should know well. Draft, that's the van, increasing your draft for 50%, by 50% for 30 seconds. And you'll see a flurry of the power-ups. One thing that was interesting yesterday, Nathan, in Premier Division was the riders that had experience with Zwift and gameplay, for someone like yourself or Martin It's just rudimentary knowledge. But we were really interested to see even some of the top riders weren't aware that you could go into your Zwift companion app and bin it or trash it rather than deploy it. Because if you're on flat ground or going uphill, using that anvil, well, on flat ground, I guess it's more or less a wash, right? You're certainly not going to get a benefit by weighing more on flat ground, but it's not going to hurt you that much. But when you're going uphill, it does. And seeing riders dropping that anvil, trying to get rid of it, not realizing they could just throw it away and not play it. Nathan, did you notice that yesterday?
Yeah, definitely. There was definitely riders who were trying to get rid of the power up and not able to bid it. Some people don't use the companion app while they're racing too, so that might be. I mean,
good reason to use it though, right?
Oh yeah, it's a great reason to use it. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. If you did not know that, there is a little bin that you can get rid of your power ups actually on the companion app. You know, I haven't been involved in too much racing with the anvil power up, so I haven't really thought a lot about using that personally either. I knew that was there, but it just wasn't something like,
Sure.
oh, I really need that bin at any time, because it is an event only power up.
And it's one of the rare ones,
specialty set up.
Yeah, and it's one of the rare power-ups that could do damage to yourself if you used it at the wrong time, right? If you deploy the feather at the wrong moment, you're just wasting it, but you're not hurting yourself. You follow what I'm saying there? The anvil played at the wrong time. That's sub-ideal, to say the very least.
100%. I mean, you can end up off the back pretty quickly with an extra 10Ks on the body here, so...
As a person who's been trying to lose 10K for the last year, the last thing I want to do is have someone slap a backpack with a 10K anvil on it onto my back. That's for sure. So, all right, Nathan, well, taking a look at this group again, thank you for showing us what the course looks like out here. We're jumping in with the Europe, Middle East, and Africa Division 1. This is men's mixed in the A group. This is the moment when we really do start moving back into peak Zwift time, and the numbers have been absolutely phenomenal. Let's take a look. So, Nathan, I think we could quickly talk about the first across the line. That's FAL, but FTS, fastest through segment, that comes into play, and that's a unique thing that WTRL does that's absolutely awesome. The riders have really loved this fastest through segment. Where is it out there today?
Yeah, so the fastest through segment that they just took down is through the marina. As you can see, the points here are 20 for that fastest through segment. It was, as you can see, the rider who came through the fastest. And the reason why, look at how much slow, like the difference here from one guy. And the reason being is because he was off the front, you know, and so he's traveling extremely slow compared to the pack that was hard chasing. And there's the difference in points for that fastest through segment. So
that's a really good illustration.
The next time through, it may be able to get taken down, but a lot of times after one time over the Petite KOM, not a lot of riders are going to have a ton of juice left in the leg. So this most likely, in my opinion, will hold on for the FTS on the day.
Race scenario will always come into play, right? The Peloton, it's like any organism. It has its moments where it's flying, and at times they'll back off. Here we go. You can see that they're really starting to pick up the pace now. We've got multiple moments in this race, but there you go, deploying that van power up, looking for that little bit of boost in the draft, and well done by Obdam here, as Obdam looks like he'll get over the line at first. I've got Edelman, the Swiss rider, second. We'll see if that holds true, as we'll call up the preliminary results here just a moment.
Yeah, real quick here, let's take a look at the replay of that. Give us a good idea of how exactly that went down. Get a little bit of slow mo and pause to see exactly where things were at there across the line. It does look like it is going to be second place coming on through for well, Dutch obviously taking it down. Edelman there for second, but then Moreno, I think, from P to Z, just ahead of Philippe there, coming from the snooze team. So they're going to jump right back in, though, to another intermediate section as they will be taking on the Aqueduct right after this. And Dave, on this course with the Aqueduct, immediately following a sprint like that, a lot of times anyone who's a little bit off the back through this section, as you can see a pack trying to chase back on, going through those cobbles too, it does slow down avatars a little bit. And I think some riders get a little bit surprised at the kind of pace that ends up being set.
Great time to counterattack. Well put, Nathan. And it's certainly a dangerous moment in the race. It seems like we've seen a bit of a race to the bottom of that Petit KOM before the top climbers. It's 2 trips up. The second trip obviously going to be even tougher than the first in my estimation. But yeah, they're going to be pushing the pace out here all day long. Each lap at about 22.5K each. Again, total of 46.6 kilometers of racing out here. It's a long day, but I can see a burrito there. It's interesting, the burrito and the anvil, Nathan. You don't really see all that much. It's fun to see how riders are using them out here as they get folded into the gameplay out here. Speaking of P to Z, here we go. Yeah, just looking at the group, Nathan, they are pinning it right now.
This race has been nonstop right from the get-go. I mean, over and over again, we've seen just orange number after orange numbers, and this just doesn't stop coming at you from here until essentially the climb. If these racers keep racing this way, they just do not seem interested at all in slowing down. It seems to me that this group specifically, I think he nipped him. I think Ubdam from Dutch actually got that.
Tom Ubdam,
perhaps.
Yeah, and Rico Tema is one of the names that we've come to know well there on the Dutch racing team. So the Dutch riders, a couple different teams here, but they're doing damage. Let's see what happens now, Nathan. You can see a couple of splits back through this group. See if we have any anvils getting tossed up, power-up time. I don't think so. I think
out this is already, too. I mean, these guys are just not – there's no mercy right now, it seems like, over and over again. Especially from Dutch Racing, they're attacking off the front nonstop with each one of these sections, and I'm kind of blown away actually at the kind of pace that's being set at this point. Already, we've got
look at the
packs complete 188 beats per minute here coming from Conter right now. It's just
this is not normal.
No, it's not.
No, absolute pandemonium right now. Holy cow. So Nathan, one of the riders, John Fielder of the Herd team, he came through and just doubled down on this effort. We might have 4 distinct groups out here on course here in a moment. This is absolutely the dynamic of trying to get into that front group is at play. Holy moly. Looks like the crosswinds just hit the peloton in Holland out here. We're racing in the French World Casse Pat. Looks like they're going to weld this one back together, Nathan. So the alarm bells were obviously ringing for Group 2. Now that we'll merge them together.
And now 2 seconds off the back here. I mean, this is game over, I think, for a few of these riders trying to get back on terms. Forney's here, maybe? No, I think it's done and dusted here for the rider coming out of Spain. And also, just going to go back to this chase group here, as you see Brunsberg, as well as Boz there from the Herd team, Linden from SZ, rider after rider, just off the back. Here's a solid chase group, already a minute back at 50th place or so. We started.
And these are quality riders.
Yeah, no,
this is not a slacker group. Yeah,
getting caught out.
I recognize.
Jeez.
Well, if that's what the first lap is like, this is going to be bedlam out here today in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I'm surprised, actually, that it came back together the way they were going, but I think the reality of it, we still, another 30 kilometers of racing before we get put paid.
This morning it was about 1 hour race, like right on the dot for the men's race in APAC. And I'm wondering if we're going to see something similar or if it's going to be like 5 minutes faster. We're looking to try and time some of the events today and how we're going to get them all out in broadcast. And I was like, well, with the 1 hour mark, not sure it's going to be able to work. We'll see what can happen here because the races are 1 hour apart that we're covering today. And I was like, all right, let's see how this is going to work out. These boys might make our day a little easier when it comes to productions here because they are flying. Only 20 minutes in, already hitting the bottom of the climb. I have a feeling this is going to be a sub 30-minute lap easily.
Amazing. You can only fit 1 hour of bike racing into 1 hour. So But definitely, I think we're going to be watching one of our fastest races of the day. This could even be faster than what we saw in the Premier Division, to tell you the truth. It's not impossible.
Lots of comments coming on through. Good to see Matt J coming on through, and as well as William N.G. saying that, man, this is an exciting first lap nonstop. Dutch Racing really taking the racing to everybody out here today. They do seem to be the absolute aggressors. Let's take a quick look at the current standings as how things are overall when it does come to the points at this moment. It is going to be all good here. Coming through, Moreno there in second there, Edelman there holding things down. But Dutch Racing, as you can see, I think really owning the day, as they do have Sabrandi also sitting in that eighth place. And even the only jersey I would say that perhaps is going to be a threat, though, is going to be that P to Z, because they do have Moreno as well as CID there with that 14 points coming right up against it there. If there's anybody outside that top 10, maybe P to Z going to be challenging the Dutch Racing team today.
Yeah, Dutch Racing absolutely deserves accolades for the efforts they've been making, but there's plenty of teams that are right now more than happy to lay back just a little bit. And let's see how things go out there on the second lap today, as 18K in now. Again, 300 meters of climbing isn't excessive, but it really comes at you in two significant chunks out here. Taking a look now, this is the season that we're looking at. 20 points is the maximum that a team could earn per race. So this is our fourth race now in the community. And with 3 completed, you can see 58, pretty close to perfect for that Dutch Racing team. Rick Otema and company have been phenomenal through the first half of our ZCL community season. The Watt Bombs, though, are right there. Absolutely within striking distance. That's BL13 Watt Bombs, third right now at 54 points, 2 points ahead of their countrymen, Swedish Swifters, the UL team over the Meter team right now, again by 2 points. And then you've got P to Z sitting in fifth at 48 points, Snooze 45 points, Wahoo Lacole 40 points there. Team Electric Spirit.co, French 75. They should be liking the racing out here today. 38 points is their 1 point ahead of Alpha E Racing Team Black. And then Herd of Marmots, they're still out there and they're still fighting. And that one of their riders, John Fielder, has been looking really, really good out there today.
Solid job by Dutch Racing defending their top spot out there so far today. Now, this climb here, Dave, interesting enough, the way that this peloton has gone out, I think it's calmed them down just a tad comparatively to some of the other categories from this morning.
I would agree, Nathan. I think that everybody realizes that was something we're not going to sustain for another 25 minutes. And I think collectively, maybe a little bit of a reprieve. I'm sure there's going to be one rider that'll look to take advantage of that. And there you go. It no surprise. It looks like Vanderlei going to make a run at it for the Mui Zhang team.
Kerr looking to go across, and this is the sections that you do want to do something with it. As you come across each one of these little switchbacks, those are the main moments. You can see in the upper right-hand corner that 2% gradient does flatten out just a tad. BL13 going across with Kerr. Wires there as well. 7.4 coming from Wire over the top. It looks like they do have the gap, and there is definitely a draft on the lower slopes. You want to take full advantage of it. It's going to kick up now into that 4, 5, 6% gradient. It doesn't really level out too much from here on out. There's one more flatter section, and then from there, we get right into the pointy end of this climb. 3 off the front. Otema looking to come across from Dutch Racing. It is BL13 and Dutch Racing, your 2 series leading teams off the front trying to make the moves. This is a little risky. It is mainly for points, I think, though, Dave. It's not going to be much for much else, I don't think, because you're going to need a solid 10 to 20-second gap over the top if it is going to be about a race-winning move.
Yeah, they're coming right up on the Petit Arch here. And really, the Petit KOM will end at about 23.7K in. And I think that that's exactly what they're doing, is making a run for those points. I don't think that this is a bid to try to win the race outright. You never do know, though. It's we're a good ways from the finale of this race, but this 3-rider group looks really solid. And BL13, as we just saw in the points table, is a team that is threatening to take over the lead. Even though Dutch Racing has been phenomenal, they are there or thereabouts every single moment, and it's Kerr, Weir, and the man who started this. It was Vanderlee who lit the fuse. Look at the numbers now. Vanderlee was up at 7.3 watts per kilo. As these guys hit the front, they're consistently rolling at around 7.5 watts, even a little bit more right now. Here comes Rick Otema. Very strong Dutch rider here, and it is on like Donkey Kong now, Nathan. This is a phenomenal race that we're witnessing as they have hit the Petite KOM.
There goes Kerr over the top. Weir followed up by Vanderloom. It's going to be Abdum there coming across over the top of his teammate, able to come out of the pack. They close it down to 6 seconds. Look at behind here, though. This is going to well back together into some sort of a pack, but if you miss the caboose here, you are gone. The train will leave the station, though, because they are going to be on the downhill, flying at 57 kilometers per hour so quickly. Some anvils are going to get popped. I've seen them well over 70 kilometers per hour very quickly on this descent. Anybody who does now, and that's the thing about climbing over the top of this Petite KOM, is it gets so fast, so quickly on the other side, the groups just start snowballing away. The avalanche starts. You got to get down that mountain quick. And as you can see, this is the risky moment for a lot of these riders, and they might end up like we see here with Reddy from Snooze, as well as the Alpha Racing rider here coming out of Belgium. That is going to be Verroet. They're gone. This is over for them. They're not seeing the front of the race again. This is a make it or break it moment for a rider like Svensson here as well. This is the learning moment for anybody watching. You're racing later today. You have to sacrifice to get on. You've got to throw down some orange numbers. Get on that pack, because now it's more matches burnt and probably race over. Dave, I think we muted you there, Dave.
It really is now or never. There's no doubt about it. It's like that old Western movie theme where you see the train rolling out of the station and the guy who just missed it, and the train is picking up speed and he's trying to grab a hold of it. It's the same feeling here, because it is gone at this moment. And Nathan, you're right. If you don't put it up into orange and just give it everything for 30 seconds and just go full burn rate, it's going to be settling into racing in a different race. You're not going to be in the same world as that front group any longer. And this team, BL13, have been outstanding in trying to make the race. Got to give them credit for taking responsibility out here. They're not just letting Dutch Racing have their way. This has turned into a battle royale, Nathan.
Look at this situation. This is so interesting, because these riders were riders who I think believed they were doing just fine. These are riders who thought, oh, yeah, I'm still involved. The pack's right
just
there.
Stay
we'll
in the
get
group.
Right on.
Yep.
And it was 1 second difference. One person let a wheel go, and it just rolled away from them. And now there's a 5-second gap, and there's some quality riders up here. Now it starts becoming team tactics, because Dutch is here. BL13 is here. Dutch have 2 racers. BL13, I think, are more represented. So what's going on behind here is the question, do they need Birkins to come across with them? Do they need Otema, who's been taking down lots of points actually, to get across to that front group? I think that Dutch Racing are not going to work in that front group and allow their riders to get across. Look at Birkins throwing things down immediately.
Well, and this is the tactics. You're absolutely right, Nathan. As these teams are certainly, and that here he goes.
They don't want to bring him with.
This will be interesting.
They don't want to bring him with, Dave.
Station. So, yeah, I didn't see if he was able to play a burrito or not. This is
Birkins is though. He's throwing down the burrito, not allowing them to get back on terms. This is a great bridge, and Wangai is not going to be able to come across this. They've got the gap here, Dave. It's over 10 meters.
If only these two get across, that was a mastercraft that we're witnessing from Dutch Racing. Although these guys are now, you poked the bear, didn't you? As this might all come back together now, just as Dutch Racing gets across. This is the group that they're trying to join, and attacks are going out of that group, as that was going to be Jorge Moreno that we were looking at. This thing is just left, right, and center all over the shop, and we're just one lap into this Donnybrook going on right now.
With all the infighting going on behind, wondering who's coming back, not coming back, it is going to be Astaro. They're just slipping off the front, grabbing almost some free points. Moreno there, Peter Z. Peter Z go 1, 2, 3 though. Dutch Racing getting caught out now at this point. P to Z maybe really making something happen on the back end of this race. Now, really quick, Dave, we do got to jump over to the women's racing. They're out on course. They're going to hit their second intermediate sprint. We'll take a look at the sprint points as well. We've got world championships champion on the course at this moment too here. Ashley Moolman-Pasio and her Roca Corba team here lighting things up already. So, Dave, there's so much going on out here today. I absolutely love it. But here comes Keep here throwing down some early points for the Roca Corba. Now, she might be able to take this down, the South African. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to try to figure out if Roca Cobra is entirely South African here, but this is going to be Keep again. This first sprint point has arrived. They'll get a new power up right now as well. Roca Cobra has absolutely been impressive right out of the gate, not only today, but in the team's inception. Nathan, you mentioned the reigning world champion out of South Africa, Ashley Moolman-Pasio, has put together I guess for lack of a better term, a esports club team, and you're looking at them on the front right now. This is going to be the exact same course as the men are racing on, same distance as well, as this is we're almost 12.5K into our women's race out here in France.
It looks like Truon from NZ Bro taking things down early from that first sprint point in the marina. This does not include what we just saw for the sprints. Webb, Eschchild, Rundqvist, Flies, Kegstrom, Otto, Fast-Berglund, it's going to be Argue, and Engstrom all out there today.
Truon there. I mean, look at all those Roca Cobra jerseys. Great job by the New Zealander. She's not only got there the first across the line, but the fastest through segment. We were talking about that a little bit earlier in the broadcast. Community different than Premier Division, where there's points that are available out here to keep the racing spicy and give more riders opportunities. As it's been noted, if you look at it, the riders really love having a chance to keep in play, and that's what it's all about. As we're back in with the South African Keep Roca Corba. Nice to see more and more African flags in this Europe, Middle East, and Africa division. Those numbers are growing quite rapidly.
We're just checking really quick. Keep last week did throw down for a solid sprint and then was off the back, I believe. So she is able to hang on this time. Almost fell off the back after that sprint, though. So good to see she was able to make it. Charoon here, still involved with the pack. NZ Bro with a lot of representation, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders, I think, in this front group. Very cool to see. They're going to give a little bit more run for their money, I think, here against Roca Corba with those kinds of numbers. We'll see, though, as week after week so far, it's been the Courtney Webb and Ashley Moolman-Pasio show. In the later stages of the races, they just throw down the big watts and say goodbye to the rest of the pack. We'll see if that ends up happening again, especially with the petite climb coming up in just a little bit here. Eschchild and Webb here to the front. Coalition with Fleas here now also looking to make something happen. 9-7 here with a little bit of a kick. 196 beats per minute. Webb, though, responding quickly, saying, no, you're not even going to come around as I just continue on. Otto now here, also South African. A new name to me, actually, this week. We'll see. Perhaps she hasn't been racing so far. Webb, Fleece, Otto. That's it. It's going to be Eschchild followed by Argue from Coalition. So it's Coalition and Roca Corba who are taking things down so far for that top 5 on this aqueduct.
One of the real variables at play here is obviously the world champion, Ashley Moolman-Pasio, who, if she's not in a front group, if she's got 2 teammates in that front group, she's going to be more than happy, I think, to let the other teams do some work and let the tactics play out correctly. This is going to come back together. So that's Moolman-Pasio there in the world champions jersey. It is so cool to see that.
She's a cagey rider, Dave. And I've noticed this about Ashley so far. Some riders show up with that in real life pro kit and they just kind of throw down whenever they want to. She's extremely tactical. She's a very smart
notice that moment right
racer.
there.
She is not
that moment right there.
She's not stuck her nose in the wind.
Other teams.
And she has allowed her teammates to take all the points so far. Watch out for Moolman-Pasio on the climb, I think. She knows her talent. She knows her team. And I have a feeling that we're going to see fireworks like mad on this climb. Maybe not even the first one. Maybe she'll go all in for a win. We'll see what her tactics play out. But what I've noticed is she is a smart esports racer. And more so than most of the time when I see that orange pro jersey, to be honest.
Completely agree. I mean, the moment that we just witnessed there where she let the other teams bring her teammates back, she is absolutely here to help those women rise up to another level. She has nothing left to prove as far as at this point now. She's one of the 10 strongest women cyclists of her generation and one of the best climbers. She's also, as you said, Nathan, been able to crack the code in esports faster than anyone that we've seen out here. She's the true triple threat, without any doubt. And it is an honor to have her out here racing with us. And what she's doing for the sport is it's classy. Class is the word. And that's going to be Towle Otto, her teammate there, another rider who's emerging onto the scene at the very, very highest level. So you start looking at other riders up in this group, however, because like Agatha Fleece is the coalition rider who's been more than punching well in this group. And there's Argue as well. That's Amanda Argue, another one of the coalition riders. So coalition is not just going to bow down and let Roca Cobra ride away with it out here today. And there you can see the Swedish Zwifters jersey as well. This is a team that's always impressive. And Sarah Lundland, Malin Kagstrom and company, along with Asa Fast Berglund, Cornel Eggstrom, and Luis Rönnqvist, all part of that Swedish program to be watching for today.
Yeah, it looks like SZ as well as Roca Cobra really ending up on the better end of this break. There is a 12-second gap now. I said Ensign Bro were very involved before the aqueduct, but next thing you know, we hit the aqueduct, full out gas over the top, and Coalition and Roca Cobra just broke this apart, blew things up. SZ were attentive. They got on terms. They knew the wheels to follow, and they got 3 in the lead group, actually, which is good on them. And then NZ Bro are just on the chase with only 2 riders here. Roca Cobra with S-Child in this group. She's not going to chase too hard, I don't think. There is some riders coming back. We may see a launch pad out of this, perhaps, but I think the pace is just going to be insane on the front once they do hit this climb, and I'm not sure anybody's going to be able to bunny hop across.
I wouldn't think so, to tell you the truth. The quality of riders up in that front group and the fact that we are right now positioning ourselves for what's going to be another real surge. Good on the Swedish Swifters for moving to the front, because you know that Roca Cobra is going to throw another patented watt bomb at the front of this race here. This is actually that feeling of that ticking time bomb where you know that this group is going to explode at any moment. I just want to, for the final time, make the point here that you see 3 of the Roca Cobra jerseys there, but remembering that the world champion right moving up to the front right now, as a matter of fact, actually on the front right now, is Ashley Moman-Pasio. So effectively, she's got a very special version of that pink jersey or magenta jersey.
And now to the front, looks like Webb. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen this has been the situation. It's been Moman-Pasio and Courtney Webb just smashing the climbs. Anytime that it's gone uphill, there's been an opportunity to just throw down. Those two essentially go into a 2-up team time trial, and we'll see if something similar happens from the lower slopes. They're just going to see the pylon on the right-hand side there. There's the official start of the Petite KOM. It doesn't really kick up immediately. You're going to see 2 to 3% gradient up front, and then each time you hit a switchback, it starts to get a little steeper all the way through until you hit those final 3 in the cobbles here. So we'll see how this plays out. Sometimes from bottom to top, people do go, but a lot of times it's just kind of a slow ramp, and then bam, the first 1 or 2 switchbacks, somebody really throws down the fireworks.
I see Martin mentioning that Ashley Moman-Pasio has an automatic invite, along with Jason Osborne, to the World Championships coming up in February of this year as the defending esports world champions. They don't have to rely upon it. Actually frees up their national federations to choose other riders. You get a bonus rider if you bring back the world champion, just like Julian Alaphilippe actually gets to do it one more time. This is Kagstrom that we're in with. SC, very, very familiar to our esports audience out there, as the Swedish Swifters are, without any doubt, one of the cornerstone programs out here in esports. You can take a look now at how things stand in the league up to this point. This is the Europe, Middle East, and Africa Women's A's at the very, very highest level out here. Roca Cobra with 58 points. Z Sin, again, that's one of many Swedish Swifters teams with 56 points, but the Sin edition sitting 2 points behind Roca Cobra. NZ Bro Aragorn, 54 points. Coalition, 51. Bristol Flyers right there, 1 point back with 50. KST-E, 46 points. The Betty Squad, A, and Kirkmeyer yet to put any points up on the board. So, Nathan, I remember, was it a couple of weeks ago that we witnessed Courtney Webb and Ashley Moman-Pasio in exactly what you were talking about, a two-rider group going to the line, and they sprinted. They contested it. And Ashley Moman-Pasio ended up taking the race win, but it made no difference in our scoring format as they get the points for first, they get the points for second, and throw that into the team point kitty out there. But it looks like they had some fun sprinting against each other. So Ashley doesn't give everything away. She's not giving away the shop, as they say.
I want to give a shout out here to Maria Thompson from the KST team coming out of Denmark. Level 35 Zwifter. Great to see her smashing it here at 180 beats per minute in this front group. The only rider from KST to make this group. So lone rider from a team here at this point without any support around her. Good on her for making this. We'll see if she can hang on up and over the top of the climb out here today. Took 11th last week in the Zwift Racing League. In our third race and in race number 2, it looks like a 22nd. So she's getting better and better as the weeks go on. Maybe the fitness coming on and racing into a little bit better fitness perhaps here from Thompson. So definitely has a solid 20-minute power. Maybe not quite the sprint that she'll need to contest things against some of these riders here. So she's going to have to really rely on that for her 20 here as Thompson heads to the front for that KST and representing them well.
Right on cue. As the other rider that is really breaking through today is Towle Otto there, it might be a split happening right now. There goes the world champ. The champ is in the house, Ashley Moman-Pasio, moving up to the front. Everybody who can respond will respond, as this is certainly an all-hands-on-deck moment here, Nathan.
Moman-Pasio, 173 beats per minute. As you can see, Courtney there was 182. Otto covering the move of her teammates there just to hang on with him. So 3 Roca Corba on the front now at this point. Be on the watch out. As soon as you see 3 of them head to the front and just set like a 5-5, you know the pace is just getting upped. And this looks like classic Peloton control. To be honest, there's not a serious attack. Somebody's just heading to the front and making it hard, but not so hard that the leader is going to be dropped. They're essentially controlling the race and actually riding everybody off their wheel.
It's unbelievable. You don't see this very often at this level of racing. They are now getting separation with their entire team. This is like the Italians in the movie Breaking Away, riding away from everybody. And it looks like now the fight is still out there. Thompson, the Danish rider that you were talking about, she is showing some real grinta. This is a big moment for Thompson here. Is she refusing to bow down? This is a breakthrough moment in a rider's career when they can do something like this. Go ahead and stick a pin in this moment for Thompson here. The Danish rider is going to be joined, it looks like, by Engström is going to make it across. That's Cornelia Engström of the Swedish Zwifters. So Roca Cobra throws a huge bomb at them, and it looks like right now it might even be, so Fliss is trying to join the Kegström sister, looking to get up in the mix. Courtney Webb is continuing to hammer, but got to give credit where it is due. Cornelia Engström on a great day today for Swedish Zwifters.
Now, with these last couple of passes, though, Moman-Pasio heads to the front there with 7-8 watts per kilogram real quick, raising her heart rate by 8 beats per minute now, up in the 7.2 or so watts per kilogram. Courtney Webb crosses it over as well. Otto now hanging on the front. The response here to the bridge from the other riders coming through, making sure that they grab the points. I think that this was just about the points and not about winning the race. They did the limited amount of work that they needed to. They made it hurt, grab the points, come over the top, calm right on down. I think they're looking to the next climb to really do the serious damage, because look at them back right on off. I don't think they even mind if these riders come back.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? Does it really make any difference at this point? I would think that
full control of the race. Like to me,
they're so in control that they can even show a little bit of mercy and grace right now. There's no reason for them to have to ride away as 3 alone. They know they could do this again, I think, in their minds. Well, so Ashley Moman-Pasio deploying that anvil, which probably weighs more than she does at this point, doubling her body weight. out there.
And with the men here, we are going to catch their next sprint, and they're going to head into the aqueduct as the women make the descent down the other side of the petite climb. We do have a lead group of about 20 plus riders. Blackwell's going to open it up into their sprint here, as it's going to be SZ with the first go. I don't think it's going to hold, though. It's very early, as Albdom from Dutch Racing has been the man on the day. He's got a burrito power up that's not going to be super helpful for him actually here. P to Z maybe able to get away from him, though. Albdom with the continuance, though. Dutch Racing, are they going to take it down? P to Z has been challenging on the day. Albdom's going to take it, but that P to Z team is really giving them a little bit of run for their money, as they took those Marina sprint points a little bit earlier. We most likely won't have an update just yet on the sprint points from this section, but let's take a look at where things were at after that Marina sprint. Is, as I said, P to Z along with BL13 on the challenge, because Dutch, they have 59 points at the top. That's a huge amount of points, a big gap to overcome at this point. But still, there's enough jerseys underneath with BL13 and P to Z that I have a feeling they're seriously going to be challenged. Albden can't carry everything on his shoulders today.
10K to go at this point. They're stuck into the second lap out here. And Nathan, this is a good sized group together. This definitely has me reminiscing back to yesterday in Premier Division, as starting to look like, well, I'm going to say that's 20 riders in this group right now. I'm surprised. Points
been blown
being
apart.
displayed.
It really has.
Yeah,
been.
so was a much larger group, but this, again, we'll see what happens with these guys. But 59 points right now for Tom Obdam there, the Dutch racing rider. He's been good across the line and in the through segments out here. Phenomenal job. As Jorge Moreno there, I love that jersey. Really pops. And Jorge sitting on 39 points, 32 for Kerr, Sid with 31, Weir 27. That's tied with Osoro there. A lot of Spanish flags up in our top 6 today. Murray 7th with 24 total points. Again, this is combining the first across the line, which we could call that our sprint points, and then our segment points, the FTS, fastest through segment. So Vanderlee, who's been quite active out here today with 18, 14 for Edelman, and Otema with 13 points. That brings you up to speed on all of the points. Again, we take the across the line, the segment points, add them up with our finishing points, where that's where the lion's share of the points weight. 50 for the winner, 40 for second, 35 for third, and then it starts trickling down from there all the way. The top 30 riders end up collecting at least 1 point. Back to you, Nathan. 37.7K into a 46K race.
Back end of the race here is BL13 suddenly going to start showing up, trying to open up. Griffiths here maybe waiting a little bit too long for that last kick, as it looks like Ericsson had a little bit more consistency with the speed. I think SC took a lot of those points there. I think it was 4th actually for the other BL13 rider. A little bit of separation perhaps. Griffith's going to have to hold on as he kicks up to 5.1. I think it is going to completely come back together. No, we may have a split or two on the back here. Birkin's got to be super careful. 182 beats per minute currently coming from him, the Dutch racing rider. They're actually Dutch all on the back foot. Wonder if a little bit of struggle here from Dutch, as they had to really close down some gaps today just to be involved still. And P to Z on the back end of this race, as well as BL13, trying to put the current leaders off the back. I don't
maybe not their best moment, but yeah, I mean, they're going to come right back into this group. That wasn't their finest moment, but they're going to recover from that, no problem. Well, I say no problem. We were joking yesterday about marginal gains and marginal losses. That certainly wasn't a marginal gain moment for the Dutch, but they've recovered and are back in the mix here. Just one moment inattention, and something like that can happen.
Does look like everybody is going to get back on terms, though, as they head into their final climb in just a few Ks from now. In the women's race, we did just have the next sprint open right on up. Let's see if we can get a quick replay. As they came through the marina, it was again the Roca Corba team making the moves, it looks like, as Otto, with a solid little kick, maybe going to be able to hold on to this one. And no, it's actually coming over the top. Webb, again, showing with Otto actually kicking. All 3, 2, actually, it's going to be Webb, Otto, and Argue coming on through for third. So Coalition still keeping things solid in this race, not letting it get too out of hand with just complete domination by Roca Corba. Let's go ahead and jump back in with the ladies and see how things are after that sprint. All settling right on down as Fleece, though, from Coalition finds herself off the back. So Coalition now solo rider in the front as Fleece was unable to hang on to the pace there. Rundquist and Kegstrom also from SZ off the back here at this point. So this is going to be the situation. It's only 6 here now at this point, and 3 of them coming from Roca Corba.
Roca Corba, if folks are wondering, is one of the world's more infamous climbs. It's a stone's throw away from the Costa Brava in the Pyrenees. It's actually the feature climb of Girona, Spain, to tell you the truth. And professional cyclists for more than a few decades have been using that as a testing ground. It's an extremely popular, beloved climb. That's for sure. And I believe it's right where Ashley Moolman-Pasio resides during most of the year, during the racing season. So there's a little background on the club's name. Seems quite appropriate.
Well, they definitely, when it goes uphill, they show exactly why they're named after that. I think that has everything to do with it, that's for sure. They're
not named after one of the world's most infamous descents, are they?
No, not at all. Well, I mean, I wonder what the other side of that
It's
climb
pretty
is like
crazy
as far
going
as
down.
descending goes. Yeah, I wonder what the descent
I'm sure it's
is
awesome.
like, David.
Yeah. So what you got to love, Nathan, are the fighting spirit that you see in esports, and the 2 riders here. One of them, you were highlighting Thompson, the Danish rider of KST. Good for her. Staying right in this group. As a matter of fact, even moving up to the front right now. So she's not going to let herself be overwhelmed. I would encourage her to sit on, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean,
she doesn't need to do the work for this
no
group.
reason to do any work whatsoever in this group. She's got surrounded by teammates. There's no worry about anybody coming back at this point. Fleece is going to go back to the chasing group. That's at that 40-second mark. So back, they will not be seen again. The next point that they're going to be looking forward to is going to be the sprint point. The men are heading into their final climb. They're taking that left-hand turn toward the pylon at this point, though. And the question is, on the day for the men's race, P to Z and BL13, can they do some damage to the current series standings that Dutch Racing are holding on to?
You know, BL13 is only 2 points back after 3 of 3. This is the 4th race of the season in the community.
And it's got to be a lapped rider, right?
It has to be. It has to be. Unless, well, we were away. I guess I could have missed.
No,
it doesn't have to
Vanderlee.
be. Yeah,
Vanderlee is off the
It's absolutely
here.
not.
We're
I
away
apologize.
for just a moment. 2 seconds. We're looking to go across. This is a move. It's a solid move, actually. But
sadly,
top,
just as we identify,
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, sadly, right as we realize that is an attack, it's going to be neutralized. But good job there by Evander Lee of the Muijong team, the Dutch rider. But it looks like Weir's going to go up and over the top for BL13. And Nathan, just what you were talking about, can BL13 upset the apple cart here of Dutch Racing? Well, to tell you the truth, the way things have been trending out here, as we get down to 5K of racing remaining, things are starting to go BL13's way.
Yeah, interesting little move here. And this might be, 2 came across. And if they have Vanderlee to work with them,
Vanderlee recovers.
Yeah, and he doesn't really, solo rider.
He can sit on.
No teammates around at this point. He can sit on for a moment and work with them. They've got 5 seconds. We saw earlier this morning, solo rider Mark O'Brien go over the top with about 15, 20 seconds and stay away from a small whittled down pack. If that pack separates, if it has some infighting, if they don't work well together and it gets really strung out and they don't end up with an avalanching snowball down the other side, this could easily stay away. We saw 2 riders stay away solo actually this morning in the men's and the women's race. This could happen, but they need some more time.
What I would say is this. unless teams combine in that chase. And you can see that Kerr has gone clear. So Kerr attacking out of that front group. So he is not going to wait. This is a bid for glory. And they're actually dropping Vanderlee now. So Kerr and Weir are back together here. This is BL13 in the yellow Bontrager jersey as they make a real bid to try to pick up the full 20 points and move closer to the lead at the midpoint of the season. I absolutely love the courage that they're showing right now. The gap is gone huge. Nathan, I legitimately think that they've got a better than 50-50 chance right now.
Looking at the men's standings, their situation is 2 points behind.
I apologize, 3
overall.
points. I was saying 2. I apologize, 3 points. But so 20 points for the win.
I just said 2 as well. Yeah, so good call.
So right, if they do win, then they're going to at least move 1 point closer to Dutch Racing.
Yeah, and I think on the day, Dutch Racing can hold things down no matter what, because P to Z, if they lodge themselves between BL13 and Dutch Racing today for second place, that will bring them within 1 point. Great move by BL13 here. We take a quick look here also at the splits and where things stand.
And it's got to go one way or the other. You're going to either gain or lose a point at a minimum with the Dutch Racing team if you're the BL13 team. So in all honesty, this is big. I mean, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. This would be a big bite, to tell you the truth, because it would be a statement race as well on a course as challenging as Casse Pats. They don't call this the leg breaker for nothing. The finish line is at 46.6K. They are getting close to 3K to go, and it looks like Weir now is going to venture on and let Kerr fight for a second at this point, but maybe Kerr's coming back. Either way, they're teammates now. They're not attacking each other. I think that if Weir's got the legs, he's just got to go.
I think we're maybe going for FTS as well through here. That is there FTS on offer here? That may be what's happening.
Little tough by yourself
6.2
versus a group.
True.
Yep, but I do think that this is a bid for the win. In all honesty,
of
more
course,
than anything,
you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here.
Well, either way,
FTS,
right? Yeah.
He grabs first across the line,
okay,
and he grabs a win. That's a lot of points because they still are at the bottom here. Kerr and Weir are still only at 32 points overall.
What I'm saying is you can't go any harder than 100%, and he's at 100%. So if other good things come your way,
there's another
great.
option though. There's another option. He could have waited for Kerr a little bit, but I think the reason he's not waiting for Kerr,
that would be a terrible tactic. That would be a horrible tactic to drop your teammate and then let them rejoin you. Well, my thought is he's racing to try to win. I'll leave it at that.
Well, racing to win with 2 on the downhill.
If you're going for the fastest through segment, wouldn't you use your teammate to help you get it?
Not
versus dropping them and then waiting for them?
Not at all. Not on an uphill. On an uphill,
Okay,
I just smash myself.
Sure. Right on. Good
because
call.
My teammate, if they can't hold on to those 3 seconds, they can't hold on those 3 seconds.
I wouldn't then wait for them after I did that. Then I wouldn't wait for them. I would continue with what I'd gained to go for the race win.
Yeah. That makes a lot of. That does make.
I would never wait at any moment at the front of a bike race. I would not wait.
Yeah, that's a good point because at this point it is going to come down to just 3 seconds probably because look at this hard charging pack and they've got anvils to drop. So
yeah, and I was thinking that if
Weir might get caught actually because of that. If he did wait, Kerr I think is going to get caught, and Weir's going to be the one who can stay away. We'll see though. Look at this. He's backed off. He might not have anything left.
Well, he's got 16 seconds.
He is waiting
right
for
now.
Kerr. That's what's happening. He's waiting for his teammate, and they may work together at this point. We'll see how it works out for them. 56 kilometers per hour though, and now look at this pack. 63 kilometers per hour. This might be the death now.
Oh, it's going to work out for them. I truly believe that they're going to both make it to pick up silver and gold. They're riding so well right now. They're not out of their league. They've got 12 seconds at 1K to go. This would be a massive failure if they don't pull this off now.
63 kilometers
disappointment,
per hour. 63.
I should say.
Yeah, you may be right here, Dave. I've seen this kind of gap come down so quickly, but they do have the power, it looks like, to hold on. I thought maybe they were struggling a little bit more, but
gap's going
really
up.
Depends. Yeah, these guys aren't really working back here. They're just looking at each other. They're not even.
Well, at some point you start racing Right. Well, you
for
start
third.
racing for third,
Yeah,
and that's what
I think
happens.
that's what's happening. Now, question here, Dave. Who's still involved? And look at this. Dutch Racing, I think
Well,
we're
so
starting to see where their chink in their armor is. I think they're pure powerhouses, and maybe the climbs for Dutch Racing are not the
so
greatest forte for them.
I think what's fascinating here is that Dutch Racing could watch their lead almost completely evaporate because so at this point now it certainly looks like BL13 is going to take the top 20 points for today as these guys are now into the final few meters. This is a solid ride from BL13, a statement performance today. Now, Swedish Zwifters, if they can come up over the top and get second for the teams today, that's even better for BL13 because what they're hoping is that the Dutch Racing team gets moved as far down that overall table as possible. But this is a done deal without any doubt. BL13 in full effect today.
Walking away with it. What a ride. Amazing job by BL13 out here today, and surprising me actually a little bit with this ride. I mean, that was really, really impressive moves coming from BL13, and we'll see what this ends up playing out for them though when it comes to the overalls, because they might really jump up today.
So I have to admit to being a little caught out. I thought the race distance was 46.6K. It's different in the community than it is in Premier League. So I apologize there.
Either way, though, taking things down.
Either way, but for some reason, I thought they raced the exact same course, but obviously not.
As they're coming across the line, it is going to be Kerr, followed up by the P to Z, though, with Winhoff maybe coming through. No, look at the speed from his teammate. Going to just be there at the line. SZ as well, as that was going to be
interesting.
Going to be one guy who actually was the rider next across the line. The women's race is
there at the start?
Still heating up still a little bit. They are making their way over to the next sprint section. The men's now we're going to start jumping all over the place. Just as a heads up to everybody, we're really going to there's going to be a lot of different racing all taking place out here over the next couple of hours here. So we are jumping across a lot of different categories. The men's race just getting going here for the this is going to be, and we're just going to give you a quick little heads up. I am getting the replays for each and every one of them. This is going to be the EMEA South Division 1. We're not going to stay with them for right now. Just giving everybody a heads up. I know some people are jumping into chat like, where's the race? Where's this race? It says that it's on Zwift Power. Yeah, we'll be right there. We're catching the footage for it. We got the first sprint, and we'll be catching the next sprint as well. We're going to stick with what we started with the East, jumping back in with the women here in just a moment. But just as a heads up, we do have those races coming up momentarily as they are just getting out on course. Back in with the ladies, though, for the East, it is still that league group containing our world champion and her community team.
Things haven't really changed in this group since we left a few minutes ago.
No, it looks like they're just setting up for the next sprint. Really.
Yeah.
They're about to hit the sunflowers here in a second.
Such a beautiful world. This is the French world that is now more than a year old, but was introduced to much fanfare. I love racing on this course. There's a lot of excitement to be had out here. As we took a look at the Roca Corba team, 4 riders in this group, and we mentioned Courtney Webb has been one of the breakthrough riders of the season without any doubt. She's been, I would say, the closest to the highest level that we've seen with the world champion, Ashley Mulman-Pasio there. See the verified orange Zwift jersey for the world champ. I'd say she's double verified. Like double vaxxed, she's double verified.
She's double verified.
Yeah.
Love it. She's double verified. She's got the verification badge next to her name for the...
And she's got the in real life chops. She does it out on the roads, and there's not many people getting online questioning her ability.
No, not one bit. And then what's going to be interesting to see here in just a moment is the ability that she's going to throw down through on that climb. I really think that she's been saving for this next climb, and I'm excited to see what her as well as Courtney Webb do on the second petite KOM.
Yeah, Courtney Webb's a really exciting rider, and I would imagine with the World Championships coming up that if she can qualify for South Africa, that would be a nice addition for Ashley Moolman-Pasio if she's going to be coming back and looking to defend, which we have every reason to believe that she is. Having a teammate like Courtney Webb, a lot the altruism that we talk about, giving back to the sport from Ashley Moolman-Pasio, in a weird way. It benefits her as well.
There's a bin moment, Dave. There's a bin moment.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Exactly.
That was 100% a bin moment there.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Rather than using that anvil, which was not pleasant at that moment, you're absolutely right.
The moment she loses the race, actually. Over. Goodbye. I mean, how do you hang on with the 10 watt per kilogram extra there?
That's
so just
really unfortunate.
Yeah, super unfortunate. She'll probably come back and watch the broadcast and go, "Oh, there's a bin." Perhaps she knew and just didn't have, or just didn't set up well.
Hey, listen,
for it.
I had a nice talk with Stefan Kirkmeyer last night. American time, as even a rider who won the Premier League yesterday did not know about the bin. And I mean, Nathan, how many times have we commented on Stefan racing? Hundreds, I would say. And so there's no shame there, but it is a learning moment. And I think that every time we race, we learn something. And to be fair, there are plenty of us, even working in this world, that's what we learned in the last day, is that you don't have to deploy, because it's really the first time that this has come up, where we talked about this at the top of the show, but any other power-up, if you don't want it, you can deploy it, and it's not a negative effect. It just doesn't do anything for you. But the anvil, that's not true. Also, the burrito, you need to be careful there as well. You could accidentally take your teammate out of the draft. We haven't seen that yet, have we? A teammate having a bummer burrito.
No, we haven't seen. We have not seen that.
It's possible
yet. It is definitely possible as we head into the Thompson's actually coming back here. Solid ride here.
Good for her.
Thompson.
Can you imagine if she wins this race now? Nathan, can you imagine if she wins? That'd be awesome.
It would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
See, when Stefan had the problem, he didn't lose the group. He just slid way back in the group that he was in. For Thompson, she's coming back now. This is impressive. She's back.
Huge ride for Thompson. Good to see.
Now she uses her draft power up at just the right time to catch a little breather there. Well played. Touche. So maybe not the best
with front. Maybe gonna just again. I think this is just the thing all day long with this team. Is they've just consistently are controlling this race, only doing what they need to grab as many points as possible and just throw down this domination. It's so tactical coming from Roca Corba.
Do you, Nathan? I don't think, because you're so busy and with all the kids, but do you have a cat?
No,
at your house?
No
cat. Okay,
no animals here.
I don't know if you've ever lived with a cat, but especially a barn cat. When you see them playing with the mouse, you really get where that term comes from. They don't want to kill the mouse. They want to have some fun with the mouse. The mouse is not having the same experience in any way, shape, or form. This is like watching a cat playing with the mouse right now. They've been batting it around. They had it almost unconscious. They revived it, and now they're gone. This is it. Hitting out for the finish. I have a feeling we're going to watch. So that's going to be Courtney Webb there on the front. One rider. Oh, good for her, the Swedish Zwifter. So Engstrom is going to come back. Cornelia Engstrom is going to come back. Unfortunately, it does not look like Thompson's going to be able to. She was fighting to rejoin at the bottom, and I think enough is enough right now. We'll see what she can do out here. Certainly pulling for the Danish rider, but I have a feeling that the Swedish Zwifters are going to be the last team left up there in that Roca Corba sandwich.
Yeah, it does look like things are pretty said and done here for the rider Thompson. Well, she's come back multiple times, and with the way that they've calmed down, and she's got this steady FTP effort that she can throw down. So that may be a thing for her here.
And she's a fighter.
Yeah,
she's shown she's fierce. This woman absolutely is relentless. So again, you're watching a heroic performance here from a rider trying to chase back into what's a race that's been dominated by the Roca Corba team. But some riders just don't have quit in their vocabulary. These are my favorite riders, Nathan. Someone doing this, not pulling the pin, not willing to acknowledge it. This is like watching the cycling version of the movie 300, right? One rider going up against this unbelievable force. And it gives me goosebumps to think about how hard she's working right now. This is sport at its best.
Getting back on, going to be a great, valiant effort here. We'll see how it ends up playing out, though.
How can you not pull for her?
I mean, 4 seconds. Steady here for MT. From
Maria
Thompson here, KST. Looking at the gap.
Maria Thompson. This is Towle Otto, breakthrough rider of the day, without any doubt, in my mind, another South African wonder. To win out of this group and not be on the Roca Corba team will be one of the greatest sporting achievements of your career up to this point for these two ladies. Talking about Engström right now. That's the Swedish Zwifter in the white. So there's 2 white jerseys in this group. One is the world champion. You can see the rainbow bands there, but the white and blue is going to be the Swedish rider, Cornelia Engström. I'm taking a look about whether Cornelia's got much of a sprint ability, and the answer would be yes. I would not want to take my chances against her, especially she should sit on this group, right? I mean, no reason to put her nose in the wind at all right now, as they're down to about 7.5K, we'll call it here.
As we head into that last 7.5K, the men are quickly approaching their next point out on course for the sprint in the South Division. We'll jump in with them in just a moment. The women are about to start their race as well, so things are really heating up fast here across all the categories. About 3 minutes to start of the women's race in the women's South, and then after that we have, women's West. We also have men's South here taking off. Let's see here. Well, actually, no. Men's South is is what we'll be taking with here in just a moment. So just the 2 different races. Sorry, we've got America's East as well. I was looking at here later today, covering plenty of community racing. Absolutely love how much action there is to take on.
Yeah, this is just one of the best days for racing all year long. Tuesdays with WTRL and their efforts. Tuesdays and Thursdays are 2 of my highlights every single week, as we'll look forward to, I believe, the 131st WTRL coming up here on Thursday. As this race, though, is now ready to move into the grand finale mode. So we've talked about this before, Nathan. When you have a team this strong with 4 riders in a 5-rider group, walking away with anything less than the win it's got to be a disappointment. And that's an understatement, to tell you the truth. They're looking to sweep the podium without any question. A bit of an embarrassment of riches right now. I'm going to throw this question to you, Nathan. Roca Corba, from what you see, how'd they do if we were to bump them right up into Premier Division next week? How do you think they'd do?
Oh, I think they'd be a dominating force, actually. To be totally honest, I think that they would be top 3 right off the bat. They've got a sprint. They've got the climb. It'd be interesting.
I agree.
Well, you have world champion here who went up against the Heino team and beat the Heino team in the world championships. Yeah. Exactly. So, and I think that the reality of Webb, a lot of times when you show up to racing, whenever I was showing up to races, you look at the numbers, you look at the stats and everything, but at the end of the day, you start looking at results and you start comparing yourself in results to who shows up to a start line and who you've competed with and been able to make moves with. and then you see who they've made moves with or who they've dropped, and you start thinking about, well, that means I'm about at this level with amongst them, right? And so just
Right.
the reality that these riders are hanging with Moom and Passio through their moves, especially Courtney Webb, tells me that they've got the talent to show up in Premier Division and win at the high-no level.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that, well, I hope that we see that, because that's one of the process that we've enjoyed so much, is watching the community teams get promoted. And I mean, look at what Aeonian is doing right now. What Aeonian did not stand out any more than Roca Corba did when they were racing back in the community, and riders like Daniela Estrate is now holding more than her own up there in premium. That's a good example, isn't it? Aeonian sets a pathway here that Roca Corba will just come ripping through, I would imagine, if they choose to. It's one of the other great things, like a team like Riot. I think that Riot, racing out of the Americas East, I think that they would have been more than strong enough to be racing in Premier Division, but they like racing on Tuesdays in the Zwift community. It makes sense for them.
Yeah, they've really embraced it, I think. The Tuesday racing for sure. Now, Moom and Passio, this is the moves here we were talking about that they were waiting for. We've kind of been just chatting about what they're going to do. Well, they're doing it now, Dave. 6.6 on the front. And they just went to the front and just opened things up. And as we said earlier, control the race. Well, not only are they controlling the race, now they're just essentially walking away with their
the mouse is dead.
Yeah,
they killed the mouse.
The mouse is dead.
You can only play with it so long before the mouse has had enough.
Yeah.
Coalition rider there, but this is the freight train of Watts that we're looking at now. World champion Ashley Moolman Passio, Webb, who's without a doubt in my mind the breakthrough rider of the year. She has come on so strong, and then today we really are recognizing the force that Tennille Otto is. Going back to the men, is they're already 8.7K in. That looks like the first
8.6
big
miles.
effort.
We are on a new build here. Apologies. We had to have a lot of Zwifts open, so there is one build that has not been swapped over, and I will not be able to swap it during this race. Apologies. So this men's South will have miles at the top. Apologies to Dave, as well as all the viewers. So that was just something no, it's not you. I just noticed that, and we'll have to deal with some imperialism for this this coverage of this specific zone. So apologies to everybody on that. We do like to keep things consistent with the kilometers across. We just need to make some swaps on our productions for the next broadcast on this specific coverage account. Here now it does look like things were taken down there by the Vipers, the dirty Vipers, or the Diapers as you like to call them there, Dave.
I'll never live that one down. Yeah.
It was one of the best moments in ZCL history.
The down and dirty Vipers became the down and dirty Diapers because it was a dirt team as well. So in a court of law, I think I have a pretty strong defense. I don't think there's a jury in this land that would convict me. So anyways, they're a fun team, aren't they? This is such an active group. So the best racing that we see in the ZRL happens right here. Looks like the INC aliens are all over this one.
Absolutely killing it. Now, one last little kick to the line, though, over in the women's race we were just covering with the world champions.
Courtney Webb.
Webb going over. Passio 2 seconds back. I think she just backed off to let Webb take down those points, though. She's not in any trouble, it doesn't look like. Comes across pretty easily. They've got 25 seconds, and this is going to be the top 3 for Roca Corba. Did you see any of the posts, actually, over on their socials? Pretty cool to see. All of them racing in the same room, actually. Over there in South Africa, from what I saw across the Instagram post that they put out there, the team actually getting together, almost like little Zwift team camps taking place.
It's really cool. I truly am a huge fan of there's a lot of great things about South Africa these days, and certainly the Cape Epic is one of them. That's a race, Nathan, I would hope is on your bucket list someday to be able to go down and do. I mean, there's like some great stage racing on mountain bikes around the world right now. Ruta Conquistador comes to mind, the BC bike race up in British Columbia in Canada. But for me, Cape Epic is the dream race, that's for sure. And I certainly hope I can make it to South Africa someday. First ever World Championships are heading to Rwanda, Africa for 2027. And that is a massive step forward for cycling and equality and inclusion. And that's the kind of good news that we need right now.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it here. Now, here we go with Webb on the front. We're going to let these ladies.
Yeah, they're pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think that
they'll be all right.
They're good to go. As Engstrom here is so
You're looking.
Argue trying to come back. This is for fourth and fifth, though. A little bit of a battle between Coalition and SZ here, which is still sort of some bragging points for sure.
Oh, absolutely. They talk about being in the money, right? In pro racing back in the day, you could always tell how deep the prize list went because that was sort of where the racing would stop. We did a few races, Nathan, that would have a 20 deep prize list and there would be 20 finishers. When the days were that hard, right? 140 miles from Boulder to Breckenridge, that kind of thing, where the guys, it's just so hard. Well, these are the money spots. Top 5 makes a big difference for your team if you can claim one of those spots. Again, the way ZRL works is really fun. It's a points-based. This is not a point-to-point roads race. This is basically a points race using a road format. We've got fastest through segment points. We have first across the line. So typical bonus sprint points. There's queen of the mountain points or king of the mountain, depending on which race we're in. And then there's finish line points that all gets added together. And we sort out how the teams score. 20 points after each race in the series for the first place, 19 for second. And that's why you see right now a lot of these races are really, really close. Or I should say season or series points are really close. In some cases, just a couple points separating the top 2 teams.
I want to give a little bit of update here on the BL13 situation that we had talked about. Really amazing racing out there today with BL13. I do have team standings updates coming on through.
The Gontova situation? There's a difference,
Dave. There's a difference, yeah, for sure. But just as a heads up here, they did end up getting 1 point back from Dutch Racing, but it was only 1 point. That's after 4 races. This is where things stand.
Dutch got second?
Yeah, so they did end up pulling a little bit of time back, though. Or not time, points back. So good on them. Just a shout out to BL13. I do see Daz Carter, one of their main riders, and I believe team managers out there chatting away. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them. And nice on them because it did look like Dutch was kind of walking away with it, but BL13 are saying they're here to stay for the season.
Yeah, I agree. And that's really exciting. We'll be watching that very closely, but congratulations to BL13 as these 3 women are about to post up. This reminds me, it's pretty rare. Does happen. Legion has been doing it this year, putting a full podium, their team filling the podium, and it's going to be Roca Corba today. Congratulations, ladies. Tennille.
Saying we're not messing around. Courtney Webb says she's going to come over the top, though. You know,
I love that they
with
finish.
The way that Webb and Pasio have been going kind of neck and neck, I wondered if Webb is kind of looking out of the corner of her eye a little bit at that world champion kit.
What I would equate it to would be 2 really good friends and teammates, like Alex Howes and Taylor Finney, throughout their entire careers from when they were 12 years old. If you had them out riding today, they would sprint for the Boulder Town Line sign.
Heck yeah.
Town Line.
Of course.
Sprint.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it,
Yep.
Dave. It's the best. So good.
Yep.
And that's what
I
it's
think
really
that's exactly
all about. That's what bike racing is all about.
It is. It makes me smile. You know, it's what's good about cycling.
Oh, Argue had a kick and didn't use it in time. Interesting enough.
Engstrom coming over the top, huh?
Yep. Okay, real quickly, everybody, let's head back over to the men's race here in the South. This is going to be it right now, and they are halfway up their petite climb. Kells is on the front for Cryogen. We'll start getting the standings, the segment points, and everything up on screen in just a moment to give everybody an idea of who we're looking at, why we're looking at them, and where the standings are at. But let's go ahead and celebrate them as they make their way up over the top of the climb as individuals, as it is going to be innovation seem to really be in control of this one. Restarter there as well. I do see a DZR kit. Dads are there inside riding trainers. Looking through a few others, I do see the Italian team there with Fumagalli making his way to the front, as well as Zanasca. This is a solid orange numbers attack as they head into the final few switchbacks.
Every time that we fire up the ZRL, WTRL machine, a server somewhere around the globe groans as it realizes it's going to get put to work with the amount of data that Martin generates. I mean, there is so much going on with all of these points. It's absolutely incredible as we jump into a whole new world of racing out here. Viva Italia, Zanasca here, hitting out 3-second advantage. As you can see that the Italy 1 team now has got Cryogen and the INC squad. Look at INC. They're moving their men up to the front now. Again, remembering this is the 12.3 miles. So think something closer to 26K in.
Yeah, again, apologies on that and the numbers there.
Oh, no. It's okay.
We'll just, we're getting closer to the Americas time zone. So, no, I'm just kidding. We're not changing anything up. We're definitely trying to keep things across the board how we usually do. But once in a while, a little bit of hiccups. Guys, a nice little job here. Now, is Holder going to come across, though, from innovation? How's the timing going here, Dave? Because Holder's got 8.9 watts per kilogram. 2 seconds, 9 watts per kilogram now. He might be able to shut this down. It's going to come right to the line. Zanasca's fading.
Wow.
Lots of speed here coming from Holder. I think Zanasca's just going to hold on. Oh, what a move. Well timed.
12.6 kilometers is, 12.7 miles is more like 21 kilometers. I apologize there. Bad conversion.
Doing the math on the spot, Dave. Don't need to apologize for that. That's next level.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll let the Boulder County education system know that you're impressed, but I'm not.
Very impressed. Super impressed by that conversion on the spot. Maybe I'm just doing too many things to go, okay, now I have to convert. Now I got to convert.
Literally, Nathan is running the show with 8 different computers open, and I'm doing one simple conversion.
This is actually true. So I'm gonna.
That's actually true.
True.
I mean, literally true. So, boy, one thing I'd love your opinion on this, Nathan. But this course brings out the best in esports. I don't know that we really could find better than racing out here on Casse-Pots in France. This has rapidly become my favorite.
Yeah, some of the best racing that we've seen. Really, this season, so I did have some people saying, "Oh, these courses not really going to be that difficult or whatever." Sprinting. I don't know. This course seems to be pretty difficult. And then I also think that the tour of To It, I just recorded the Rider Recon for that, and that looks insane. 2 weeks from now, and then the Two Bridges course next week. That's no joke as well. That's, a punch in the face every lap and very short laps. It's really almost like a very short circuit road race, essentially with a really strong climb right in the middle of it, where racers can really make the race there as well. So I think this week and the next 2 races are races to really watch out for, where riders can just take it to the rest of the pack.
I know it's not as simple as this, Nathan, but oftentimes when I hear racers say that, I think to myself, well, if it's not a hard enough course, you should have no problem winning then, right? And that doesn't seem to really work out that way. So racers make the race, don't they? And I think that's something that you really do have to respect.
I don't know. I always got frustrated at Schwamagon because I'm like, this is a road race. I want a pure mountain bike race.
Well, and that's true. I definitely, I can see where if you're a specialist in climbing, where you would want to have more climbing, that would make more sense. Right. But I don't think it's so much about it. Does the course suit you? I think would be a better way than to say it's not hard enough, because racers will.
Great point. That's a really good point.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
I completely agree with you there, because I think also I was immature in my racing at that time, to be honest, where, I had courses I could win on because I had certain skills on those courses.
Exactly.
A pretty good climber. I might have been a pretty good climber, but I wasn't strong enough to just ride away from a pack that had drafting, or whatever. And then once I got a little stronger, once I was training well, once I was putting in real pro hours, lifting weights, doing all the things I needed to do, and I got the fitness to ride away, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. And winning in these situations is almost more fun because it's so tactical sometimes. So it definitely had to do with making excuses sometimes. And I admit that 100% in my first 5 years of racing pro for sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? When you look at like Eric Heiden winning the 5 Olympic gold medals all the way from a sprint distance to a marathon distance. I think that really, really says something to have that much range. There's not many athletes that can in the world of cycling that can compete in. Well, I mean, it makes it more impressive when you look at like Filippo Ganna or Rowan Dennis, right? That they can race on the track and do it on the road. But still, nobody can be great at all things in the sport. That's for sure.
Magali took that one down. They really waited right to the
Yeah.
last moment, Dave. Like
Yeah.
they were just kind of like, oh, we'll just wait to the last this one. I think they've really tired themselves out, to be honest. I'm feeling that they're like, okay, I don't even know if I want to go for this one. As
Completely agree.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to start conserving your resources, right? They've still got a long way to go. We're going to jump in now here with Munden and the Crowdgen Stelvio team. A lot of power-ups being deployed right here.
Rose Beastmo is on
There's
the front.
another sprint.
Kessler coming through. Mobs. This is going to be the women's race here for the West. I believe it is. Mobs from the Sox for Watts team. Going to take it down, it looks like. I believe Vanderplas for R3R, followed up by Arthur. And Arthur, this is the WLC crew, if you remember, showing up. And it's kind of been this amazing battle between WLC, Aeonian, Beast Mode, and I believe Sisu team is out here. I thought I saw Kessler and Curry. Catherine Curry is here.
You got it. Actually, there's Kessler
Wendorf
right there.
is here as well. So, I mean, this is going to be an interesting race because I think everyone's shown up this week. We had kind of our R3R's here with Lou Bates as well. So, remember Beast Mode getting dropped off last week as well. So,
yeah, Nathan, this is an incredibly strong field. I'm wondering if you have any insight for me. Catherine Curie was a 3-time winner in the Premier Division. She's now racing in Community. So she's proven herself, again, much like Moolman Pasio. She's done it in real life. She's done it here in Zwift. She's done it at the highest level in esports. Their credibility is at an all-time high. It must be a scheduling thing, or I'm wondering why she's choosing to race Community, because she can race anywhere she wants.
Perhaps Sisu.
Maybe it's a Sisu thing.
I think she just wants to ride for Sisu.
Right. And absolutely zero criticism there.
I think that's a great thing. Get Sisu into the Premier Division. I mean, that's an amazing squad. They've got the talent, and just fight for it. I mean, this is. But the thing is that they're in this most competitive division you could possibly get into now, though. So this is like. I
think they should be, to tell you the truth, right? I mean, when you look at the team, they've got Daniela Rose, Amanda Wendorf, Catherine Curie, Liz Shoup, Tamara Jewett. This is a really, really strong team. This is Lou Bates. There's some huge names in this field here. There's Catherine Curie right on cue, the 2007 U.S. Road Champion now. And again, 3-time ZRL Premier League winner. She's going to split this group up, Nathan.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that this is really where the grenade's going to go off here. It's going to be complete shrapnel off the back.
What about Maud LaRue coming forward now? She's a massive talent, a breakthrough rider coming on strong, and this group might be 10 riders when the dust settles after they go up and over the top. That's Maud LaRue that we're in with now, the Wahoo Lacole team. And yeah, look at this. It looks like someone threw a hand grenade right in the middle of the peloton as there are splits all over the place, but there sure is a lot of Wahoo Lacole on the front right now.
This has been their tactic, has been Arthur and Langham taking down as many sprint points as they can, and then Maud coming through with a counter speed, Arthur and Langham holding on, and then just setting a very high tempo on the front after the sprints. They did this last week. They're doing it again. Beast Mode found themselves in a bad spot because they attacked over the top of the climb, actually, trying to get the sprint points at the top of the tempo climb. And then WLC countered them. All three of them took the sprint points down, and at the same, well, I'm not sure. I think they actually took the sprint points down, and then Maud went to the front after Arthur and Langham with their kick, and Maud just got this crazy high watt per kilogram FTP. Arthur and Langham more of the sprinters, and they just kind of cover all the bases and just walked away, and Beast Mode were out of the race. Beast Mode, they've learned their lesson this week, and they're still involved.
Let's start taking some inventory here. Speaking of Beast Mode, you can see that great kit that they've got, the black and orange there. But it's a lot of blue and pink, and that is going to be Wahoo Lacole. So I see De Jong is there. It looks like you mentioned Langham, Catherine Curie with Sisu, but this, I wouldn't say it's going Sisu's way per se right now, Nathan.
No,
as Wahoo Lacole's
got
every
WLC
rider
going across there, and now Curry's got no one with her. I mean, she takes the sprint points, but WLC said, okay, we're going to go right with you and shut down any other Sisu riders being involved now.
Yeah, I'd say that might have backfired just a little bit there. Coralie Arthur is there. The Rose Beast Mode rider is Gabriella Schulman, I believe it is. That is Gabrielle Schulman. We mentioned Maud Leroux, another talented South African rider. Boy, South Africa's having quite a day today. Meredith Kessler is the other Sisu I Race Like a Girl rider. But am I seeing Kessler here? I don't see her in this group.
No, Kessler got dropped. She's a little ways back. I just saw the Pro Tri kit. Yeah. It's in the chase group. Yax is there from Aeonian as well. Top end, I believe, Pro Triathlete, or at least age group winner. So good to see that as well. Lots of triathletes actually in this crew. Doesn't make sense with Sisu having a good contingent. But Kessler, 5.8, just getting back on terms. There is a chase behind with Wendorf there as well. So Sisu here struggling over the top of some of these punchier climbs and punchier sections. The question for me is, they're very strong FTP in 5 minute perhaps, and perhaps they'll be able to bring something back on this petite climb. But after some damage like this is done, really, there's a lot of matches burned because of these gaps.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some riders with impressive rides fighting back after getting dropped, but I don't know if that's going to be the story for this whole group here or not. We'll watch. Well, they just might, actually. They can continue to pitch in here and work together. It looks like Rose Beast Mode is actively interested. The one team that clearly isn't interested in seeing this come back together would be Wahoo Lacole.
You know what's interesting to me is all the numbers here when it comes to riders involved at the front. You wouldn't think that No Pins R3R are being that dominant. Lou Bates has been holding things down so well for this team. What a rider. I mean, really, Wahoo Lacole, yes, absolute domination. Their team tactics, it's been amazing to watch the synergy of that team. I just want to give a big shout out, though, to Lou Bates and the No Pins R3R team at holding down second place right now. And just so much of that team being carried on the shoulders of Bates, as well as some good tactics early on to grab points, though, as well in the season for the rest with Decker and a few of the others there from No Pins R3R. Also, we did see Vanderplas here early on in the races taking down. So knowing their forte, knowing that they got a good kick, I think they grabbed points early and then let Lou do her thing.
Yeah, and she's really raising the level. Lou Bates out of the United Kingdom. This team also has Malke van der Plas, Dutch rider, Haley Johnson from the United Kingdom, and then the German Julia Decker on No Pins R3R. But you're right, Nathan. Absolutely a cornerstone out there for that team is Lou Bates. This is such a strong division that we're racing with Division I Women's A. Actually, when you look at it, this is what you're looking for when you get involved in racing, is having such depth here. Because, Socks for Watts, the Watt TF team, tied right now with Cryogen Stelvio, and they're not that far back, just 1 point behind Sisu I Race Like a Girl, sitting in fourth here. Rose Beast Mode at 52 points in third. The aforementioned Lou Bates and No Pins R3R, 5 points off of Wahoo Lacole, who are on a perfect run so far, and in pretty good shape to make it 4 for 4 today in this 2021-22 season 1 race.
Things came back together here, as you can see. So that chase with the Sisu contingent containing Kessler, as well as Aeonian back involved at the front of the race here. Beast Mode able to bring a couple of riders back in. So WLC going to have to reset a little bit on their tactics. I think they were not minding that coming back. I think they're confident. I think we're seeing a similar situation in their confidence.
You know what it reminds me of?
I'm not sure Roca Corba confidence, but I do think that they're definitely trying to control the race in a similar manner right now.
I would completely agree, Nathan. I would, maybe not quite what Roca Corba was doing, but closer to that than the other end. That's for sure. It's only a matter of time until this group gets split again. And for some of the teams, well, I think the big winner in the last few K is Sisu. I Race Like a Girl. As they've been able to get some more of their riders back up into the mix, and hopefully they'll make the selection the next time it happens out here. Hopefully for them, from their perspective. But, when you look at it, previous performance tells us that Wahoo Lacole will be ready to hit out again and try to do similar damage.
Gaga here now for Crouch and Stelvio. Nice little punch. This is not a rider I'm super familiar with.
It sounds like you're mispronouncing a grocery store here in the United States. Krogager is, this is how you show up. Nice job for the Cryogen Stelvio rider. But look at Wahoo Lacole, Nathan.
Yeah, they just covered it immediately. She's going to come over the top, it looks like.
That's mod. Mod mode we're moving into now. The young South African rider.
On the other side of WLC, we've got mod mode and ed mode. This is the two different modes that they throw down. And they both have similar, I think,
very effective modes.
Very good talents, too. Both high FTP climbers, for sure. Good to see. Hayes now also for Stelvio taking over. Bates is, I think, just biding her time for those points because she knows that Arthur and Langham are just sitting in the wheels waiting to pounce for those final points. Now, who's going to go and just make things hard at the front, though? Very risky knowing that you've got some punchers that can climb, though, on your wheels with Arthur, Maud, as well as Langham.
Tamara Jewett has made it back up into this group. Meredith Kessler there, but this is Krogager now, the Danish rider for Cryogen.
I just want to be like groceries now. Thanks, Dave. I just want to be like.
So I guess I should share.
Groceries to the front. Here we go.
We need a bagger, lane 6. So I would say that for anyone not in America, they would have no idea.
Taking it to the register. Here we go. We've got all the memes, Dave. Cha-ching.
Bring it up.
Here comes Krogager.
Bring it up. Yeah. So in the United States, there's a very common grocery store chain called Kroger. So if you're wondering what we're joking about, that would not that funny.
I'm not even joking. She's ringing it up right now, Dave. Let's go. Aisle 5. Krogager, Stelvio, making it happen. You better pay
Blue
up,
light
everybody.
special. Blue light special.
Bates to the front.
That looks like Blue Bates.
Yeah. This is the last little couple. LaRue right there. Those are the names to expect. But Curry sitting in the wheels can she carry the team is the question today, really.